So here on a quick club trip, and already found a couple pieces. Here's a large, crinoid stem, and then I found a smaller piece. This guy actually would look very nice, polished up, so I'm gonna take it home. If I focus, there we go. There, it's focused. You can see the nice pattern, and there's actually a bit of pink in the center, so that would probably look really nice, polished up. So what we're looking at right here is a layer filled with crinoids. You can see the thick stems, and you could just see like some of it's just eroding out of there. And there's a layer of crinoids here, and then up here there's more like corals, and there's even a layer of chert a little farther down right along here.
Right here. Take a picture of that before I chisel it out.
Yeah. And you can just see there's a bunch of crinoids. Actually, let me just take a quick video of that.
Yep, before I chip it out.
And you can see right along here, Peter just found a lovely long
beautiful looking
stem of a crinoid.
Yeah, before I destroy it.
Here's a bit of a nice little, a good horn coral specimen. It kind of, when it grew, you can kind of see how it squished out and flattened out. And here's the top of it, and then it's broke off here. But this is a pretty decent one, and it's an interesting shape, so I'll take it home. So I found this one spot where I found 3 gastropods in a row. Not whole, but still pretty decent. Look at this guy. That's a nice one. And then there's a little small whole one. I'll try and pop it out. And this one I found somewhere else. And this is an interesting little horn coral, like a really small one. I don't know if it's a species I've collected before, so I'll keep it and show it to people. And just a nodule of chert. This is probably would be what would be considered Onondaga chert. And last but not least, part of a large cephalopod body. So these are like the inner chambers that you would be able to see. I have this really cool coral calcite kind of combination. You can see the small dogtooth calcite crystal from there. Gonna try and break it out, but if it doesn't work out, at least you guys got to see what it looks like. So it's too big to take home, but there's this lovely bryozoan colony here, and you can see the lovely geometric shape of it. I thought I'd show you guys, but because no one is going to be able to extract this, but it's still cool to see. So just check that out. So we quickly, before I go to a new pile that we just got permission to go at, I thought I'd show you this cool gastropod geode that has druzy quartz, and then that white chunk is a piece of calcite, and then those white puffs on the left side I think might be barite. I'll have to look under the microscope to try and figure it out. And then, so I found the other half of the guy. So here's the plate of druzy quartz. So I'm gonna take this home, cut it, and then have the second half with this guy. And I got a trilobite tail right there, and the inside of some coral with some nice dogtooth crystals that I managed to bust open. I just kind of split the rock, and actually this gastropod came from the same rock. And I'm just going to take this home and kind of cut a couple cuts into this with my saw at home, and hopefully just whack it out that way and extract it that way. And then I found this. I have to test it to be for sure know what it is. But to me that looks like common opal or Chalcedony. And there's actually on the back end here, there's a pocket of druzy quartz with what seems to be like a cluster of calcite crystals. So I have to take this guy home, clean it up, and test this vein of material to see what it is. Because it might be common opal, which is really cool and uncommon. So we got something interesting here. My friend Peter actually found this, but he didn't want it, and he said you could have it if you want it. So I went and popped this off of the main rock, but you can see where kind of where my finger is pointing, and in that general direction is a bunch of Druzy pyrite on what looks to be probably selenite, partially decomposed selenite. So I'm going to take this home. It's a bit big, but I can trim it at home and keep the piece that is the piece that has the most druze on it. So that'll be a nice specimen. So here's that piece with the interesting vein, white mineral vein. So I did some Mohs hardness testing, and it seems to be Chalcedony, like a white opaque Chalcedony. And then you of course got this awesome other quartz vein on the back end with really nice druzy quartz and this large kind of cubic cluster of calcite. I'm going to put this stuff in bleach because as you can see there's some staining from some kind of organic material. And I'm thinking of actually cutting this guy in half. This will just be a mineral specimen. And then this side I'm going to try and polish this vein up and see what it looks like polished up. Because that, as you can see, some of that white chalcedony actually kind of voids over into the hexagonal coral cells. So that would be very cool, polished up, I think. And you can see on the other side it's kind of like silicified with probably what would be more like quartz crystal, like smaller quartz crystal, and not chalcedony. Here's a nice example of the what I've learned recently is called a Leptonina Brachiopod. It's a pretty interesting looking brachiopod. It's got really nice ridges, and it's got striations in those ridges, so it's actually quite pleasing to look at. It's one of the kind of medium to larger brachiopod species that can be found in southern Ontario, so it's a cool find. Here are the two cephalopod fossils that I found on the trip. I'll start with the bigger guy. You can see this is like probably the inside part of the cephalopod body, the hard shell that would be found in its tail part. And cephalopods were these ancient squids that had these where modern squids have their tails, their body. That's where the shell would have been for the cephalopods. Now, this smaller piece, some people thought it might be actually the side bit of a trilobite because of how dark it was. But I was looking at some examples of some cephalopods found in Ontario, and they can also get like this dark pyritization. And I found a couple examples that kind of matched this. Now, this looks like when the cephalopod body was buried. It got buried pretty quickly and kind of got squished, and the rings started to separate actually, or as it was decomposing in the sediments, the rings started to separate. But I'm pretty sure this is actually just a bit of cephalopod, which is pretty cool because I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't think anybody else found cephalopod bits on this trip. So, and I managed to find 2 of them. So I'm pretty happy about this. So on this fossil trip, I found actually a decent amount of gastropods. Now, I think most of them are probably platyceri. You can see there's the front of this gastropod, and then this is actually the back end. So this is where the opening would kind of be, but you can see how it's been damaged a bit. I've got another one. This one is also missing parts of it, but that's okay because actually the whole inside got silicified in the silica form was actually what is called Onondaga chert. It's a local chert in our area, and it was a prime source of material for the native cultures of the area of southern Ontario. Well, the Niagara Peninsula. Once you go towards London, they use a material called kettle point chert more often, but this is a gastropod filled with Onondaga chert, which is pretty cool to see. You can see kind of the bluish, beigey chert. Here are a couple more examples. These two are probably the most whole ones that I found. Now I think these two are actually different species. I think this is a different species of gastropod to this one. And then this is, I think this looks like a platyceri, and this is the biggest one I found. It's just kind of lying out there in the open, which was nice. I didn't have to do any work for it. And it doesn't look like it's been silicified on the inside, but it's just a very big one, so I'm pretty happy about this one. Last but not least is this half of a gastropod that actually has been kind of like geodized, is what people usually call this. It's got a large calcite crystal right here, and then it's got lovely kind of like a smoky bluish druzy quartz, though I think it's just a white druzy, but the fossil itself is like a bluish gray, so it gives it kind of that smoky bluish gray look. And then right there you can see those white puffs of minerals. I believe that might be barite. I'd have to look at it under a microscope, and I might actually, if I do look under a microscope, I'll put some screenshots of what I see, so that you guys can see what I'm seeing. And this is just a really cool geodized version of it. I'm hoping, I have the other half in the larger piece upstairs. I'm hoping actually what I can do is glue them together and then eventually cut halfway through right here, so that, because the other half of this calcite crystal is on the other half, and then we'll get a better look at that calcite crystal, and then we'll have a nice cross section with both the white spray on one side and then the large calcite crystal on the other side. And interestingly enough, I think this calcite has another mineral growing in there. You can see that brown mineral there. That might be brown calcite, but I'm thinking it might actually be something else, and then the calcite grew on top of it. But I don't know exactly what it could be. So here are a couple miscellaneous coral fossils that I decided to take home. This is a large squished coral. I don't know exactly what species it would be. Maybe it was a large horn coral that just got squished when it got buried. And this is like the top end, and then the bottom end is missing. As you can see, there's a fresher break here. But it was a large, cool chunk, so I decided I'd take that home. And then I found this interesting little horned coral. One of the collectors here, a guy from New York actually, he said he collected on the New York side. I think on Lake Erie, there's a spot where they collected fossils, and there are a lot of these there, and in that area they call them slipper coral or lady slipper coral or something like that. But I'm unsure about the species, so if any of you fossil hunters know, please let me know, because this is a very interesting little coral. Hopefully I'll eventually get the type of equipment that can be used to clean fossils like this, because I bet this would look very nicely cleaned up. You can kind of already see some of the structure underneath is very cool looking, and it's just an interesting little squat specimen. Here are just a couple cool examples of crinoid stems that I took home. These just have a really cool cross section with the star in the middle. Most of the crinoids here look like they've been either calcified or silicified. And they're just very interesting. I think these I might actually polish down to a flat face, so I can get these cross sections polished up and looking nice, and then it will be a nice clearer look at the cross sections of these crinoid stems. If you got into this part of the video, thank you for watching this far. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. I do arrowhead hunting, rockhounding, and fossil collecting related videos where I learn as much as possible and then try and share what I've learned with other people. That's my main goal with this channel, is to learn and to share what I've learned with people online. If you haven't already dropped a like on this video, please consider doing that. That really helps get the video out there, and share to as many people as possible, which is my main goal, is to try and connect with many as people as possible to learn and to share what I've learned with those people. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.